What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Midweek Chat with Jasmin. I'm your host, Jasmin Bryant, your brand visibility coach, helping women over 40 who are entrepreneurs, coaches, speakers, just get over everything that is holding you back from showing up on camera, being visible, making money, and have the life that you want, because being cute's not broke and living on someone else's clock. Being broke is not cute. Oh my gosh. See, this is what happens when you are living on someone else's clock, like I am, and working overnight. You lose your brain at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. But with all of that, today I wanted to welcome in Lydnsi Weiss. She is a dynamic social media coach specializing in helping entrepreneurs grow profitable Facebook groups without resorting to those stupid, silly, nasty, cold messages that we all hate. With over a decade of experience as a six-figure social seller, she empowers clients to generate leads and convert them into loyal customers through authentic community building strategies. We need that, Lydnsi. We need you. Thank you for doing that and welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited because Facebook it's important, right? As much as we hate it, like I am currently pretty much locked out of Facebook.
Oh no.
I know, so I'm hating it right now, but it's an important tool when it comes to growing your brand and your business. But before we get into that, I do want to ask you a little bit more about you. I just kind of gave like the nickel tour, so tell us just more about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I live in Arizona. I'm a mom of twin boys, and I'm married. And I'm originally from Chicago. And so, how this all came about is my world started, my career world, if you will, started. I started in corporate thinking that was going to be the solution to me doing something big. I was very ambitious. I had these lawyer, doctor, CEO dreams as a little girl. And I realized quickly how much schooling that would take. And I was like, whoo. And so I went to college, did all of that, graduated, and I really kind of laser focused in on business, marketing, and I was trying to climb the corporate ladder. And meanwhile, the pay, I was barely making it. Like the pay was very
Yeah.
low in my corporate space. And my commute was nearly 2 hours.
Oh my God.
In Chicago, if it's bad weather, you're looking at 3 hours. And I
Yes.
wasn't a mother yet at this time. I was, I believe I was just on newlywed, it was like right before and after my wedding that all of this was starting to come to light. And I was like, how does a mom do this? Like, how am I going to get to their school stuff, get them to school, get them to their sports, if I want to go to a field trip, like how does a mom do this? And I just, the commutes and the very limited pay. And it was really tough to climb that ladder because there were other people that were in those places that weren't moving, there was no space. And so I looked around a little bit. I searched for other positions, and it just kind of all felt like it was kind of the same across the board. And one day they took the company and they moved it to Ohio. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my income, but I now can figure out what I want to do. So I, continued my search a little bit, and I got into IT recruiting for a little tiny bit, which was fascinating to me because we could look at people's positions or skills and positions and match them. And I was fascinated by that. In the midst of me doing that, I got a Facebook message that was an obnoxious cold DM. The thing that we all what is this? And it was so long. There were links like, you should join this, you should do this. And I was like, where did this person come from? Had never talked to this person ever. I thought it was a robot. But instead of me like blocking or, saying like, where'd you come from? Who are you? Type of thing, I just kind of embraced it and I got curious. And so I started to follow this person and watch this person. And they started talking about this. They started painting the picture of this vision week after week after week on how they were earning this income. They were working on health goals, how they were, doing this around their kids' schedule, and they kept talking about their payday. And I was like, that sounds like exactly what I'm looking for. But I was like, but what is like this?
Yeah.
Is this a real human? Like, what's happening? And so time went by, as I stayed in my skeptical state. And eventually trust was built because she continued to share that story on repeat. And it was a vision that I really was looking for deep down. It was like, somehow she's doing this around the kids' schedule. She's making money. And, at the time, health is always a goal, but it was like so cool to be like, you could integrate that. And so, long story short, I got involved in the direct sales world, the social selling world. And I just remember them telling me to send all these messages. And I was like, I don't want to do what you did to me. And so I opened a Facebook group instead.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, here's what I'm going to do. And what's so funny about this was it was intentional, but so much of it was unintentional. And it took a coach to help me realize what I was doing. And so I opened this group and I did it all wrong. Of course, I did it all wrong. I brought all my friends on Facebook into this group because you could. And I was like, come on in. We're going to talk about health, recipes, water intake, mindset, things like that. And if you don't like this, just click that leave button. So that was how I like originally started this community. And today I don't teach that, but we live and we learn. And so anyway, so I was able to really understand how to bring, and then, as I went out to get leads, because when you're growing a business, you need new people constantly to be talking to. My way of really breaking that ice with them was saying, I have a community. If you would like to join, it's free. And I wasn't like, here's my link, join, buy this product, do this. I was like, come on in here, let me serve you. And so I served them in the community. And through the simple strategies that I do, I was able to convert money to clients and then, of course, teammates. And what was really cool was I was able to duplicate that process, and I was able to help others launch their own communities and do it the way they wanted to do it. But it was a space for them to bring in cold leads, nurture them, serve them, and then, warm them up and turn them into excited buyers. And I had hit like some high levels in the business. And I remember a coach that I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. And she was like, obviously you do, because you're like one of the top right now. So you must know what you're doing. And I was like, no, I don't. And they were asking me to speak on multiple platforms. And I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And so it took this coach to be like, but what are you doing? Like, walk me through it. Like, what are you doing? And I was like, well, I have them launching their own communities through a group. And I'm teaching them what to do inside, and I'm teaching them how to bring people in, and I'm teaching them how to sell from there. And so she was like, okay, so step 1, step 2, and we walked through it. And she was like, you have a framework, you have a system, and that's how you've had so much success in this space. And I remember, like, I realized like I had a way to start to teach what I was doing. And I started speaking about it on some stages across the country in this space. And I was so encouraged to like take this and be a coach on it. And I was so like, I don't know if I could do that. This was like in 2015. So in 2023, I finally got the courage, and I was like, okay, you need to help other people do this, because so many people think Facebook's dead. So many people are annoyed with Facebook. So many people see these groups and they're like, all they do is promote, or like, it's just so much white noise. And suppose maybe there's some effectiveness to that, but like I haven't really seen it. Even moderating some of these groups, I'm like, I haven't even been able to like make this work in this space. And so I realized like I need to bring this to the world.
Mhm.
So I help coaches, course creators. I've worked with realtors. I work with social sellers. I worked with authors and really helping them understand how to build a community by launching out a Facebook group.
Well, let me ask you, because there's a lot to unpack there that I'm really really interested in, and I think people watching will be very interested too. So when you guys are popping on live, just say hi in the comments, and also ask your questions so that we can answer them for you. Um, one of the things that you were hitting on was that sense of community and not being pushy and salesy, come in, buy my stuff, right? But actually creating a community. So what is, and I know there's no one simple strategy, but what is like the first thing that a business owner can do when they're launching their Facebook group and they want to have a community and where they're not just talking at the people who are there, but having a conversation? Like what's their number one step?
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few.
Yeah.
But I mean, the one thing that I could say that's kind of the overall thing that I believe makes me stand out differently in how I support this is really I believe a lot of these groups, they're just all in on this business and all of that, and they forget that we're all humans.
Mhm.
And I like to integrate personal connection in there through conversation. And so what I mean by that is I call this harmony content. And I will look at like what's going on in the world, what's going on, are we on a holiday? Are we like, what's going on? Is it, sometimes it's as fun as, is it National Dog Day? And we want to ask them to show us our dogs. Like
Yeah.
sometimes it's that simple, but also like we have as we're recording right now, spring breaks are coming up, and it's like, fine, if you serve moms, it's like, hey, are you guys going out of town for spring break? When is your spring break? Are you staying home? Like it's that is
Yeah.
that lets them feel comfortable to come in and talk to you and not feel like, oh, they're gonna just sell me on something.
Yeah.
It allows them to come in and talk. And, one of the biggest complaints I hear and frustrations is engagement. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And yes, we want to have some engagement, but you also like, these are the ways to do that. When we're just trying to sell our stuff, when we're just talking about like all the business things, like expect crickets, because they're going to, cold leads
Yeah.
aren't warmed up yet. And yeah, you're going to have some that are warmed up. And there's multiple different strategies to help these cold leads get excited about your offer, get excited about your business. And yes, we still talk about our business, which is why I call it harmony, because we
Mhm.
mix in these personal pieces. And of course, the other thing I would say is encourage them to come in and talk,
Yeah.
right? Like let them come in and ask questions. A lot of these groups will lock down posting, and to an extent I get why, because they don't want them all just pitching people and selling people
Yeah.
whatever it is. But it does deter people a little bit, because it's like, just guide them on what they should post and let them go, because that's the point of a community. A community is where you're facilitating other people having conversation,
Yeah.
but you also get to be that as the facilitator. You get to be seen as the expert in your specific business.
Yeah. And I love that you say, we tend to forget that we are humans
Yeah,
in this group, not just, buy my stuff.
right.
For both, whether it's the group owner or the participant in the group,
Mhm.
the member of the group, it's not always just buy my stuff. We're here to connect and,
Right.
you know, enjoy each other's company. It should be I think it should be a fun space, not a
Yeah.
space that sucks your soul. You know, and so when you so when you are getting people into your group though, how do you cultivate those leads, since you're not doing the cold DMs that I get constantly when I was not locked out of Facebook, that say, hey Jasmin, I see you're a brand visibility coach, and I have a great group for you. Click here and come join. Don't know you, don't any, so how do you find these leads, these warmish leads, to come into your
So
community?
how do we bring them in is what you're asking?
Yeah.
So it's really, really simple. There's multiple things. I'll say one of the easiest things is just telling people you have a group, telling people you have a community. But the biggest thing is like, what is this community about, and what are we doing inside? Like, what are we talking about? It's one of the easiest things that people overlook. They skip it. I've honestly not had too many. I've had a few of those messages that you're talking about. But what I've found is, as long as you optimize your profile, which a lot of people understand that when it comes to Instagram, like optimize the bio, optimize the profile. It's the same with Facebook. We have a digital creator option now, a professional dashboard. A lot of people can get wrapped up in Facebook feeling like, oh, it's personal, it's where all the family is. I'm like, no, we just flipped the dashboard, and you now have followers, you now have insights, and there's so much optimization. And what happens is, when you are telling people about your community, they're going to start flowing in. They're going to be like, oh, this is something I'm very interested in. But we have to know, like, what is going on in this community. If our community is like Lydnsi's Healthy Hub, like, what does that mean exactly? Are you sharing recipes? Is this gut health? Are we talking about whatever else, carnivore diet, like whatever? There's so much, keto, like those are three different things that different groups share, right? And so when I know, like, hey, I want to focus on carnivore, my brain is like, that's the direction I want to go, right? And so when I see someone talking about it, I'm like, oh, okay, like I'm gonna go in there and learn more. Just so it works like that. I mean, and there's definitely, when I work with people, there's more strategies we go down. We go down quite a few different ones, but at the end of the day, like, everything for me, I feel needs to be simple, because simple is going to
simple. Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think we tend to overcomplicate it.
Oh yeah.
Like overthink it. Yeah. So okay, so you have the people in your group. You've optimized your profile. You have folks who are coming in. Now, how do you monetize them? Are you but are you selling your programs, selling your products, or are you,
there's so many.
Like, what's the best way, or the simplest way
Simple.
for an entrepreneur to monetize their Facebook group?
Yeah, so I would say we've got levels for this. If you're brand new and you're figuring out social media, the simplest thing is going to be to have conversations. It's going to be that simple. And there's a lot of art form to doing that, because I know you're like, send a message, like, we just talked about not doing that. But there's art form to, like, genuinely bringing, welcoming someone in, and not being like, by the way, this is what I do, and here's my link, and no. Like, we're just welcoming people and just building connection, right? We're not jumping all the way to the sale. That's kind of like the basics. Then there's also, you could create a workshop, a webinar, a masterclass, if you're ready for that level. And you can then start to move these people to your workshop, webinar, masterclass, where you're going to share some value. You're going to share, some success stories. And of course, you're going to put an offer at the end of that. So, and I love to help people really customize, whether it's they're going to run a challenge or they're going to run a workshop. Like, I help them really, like, we dig into, what are we doing inside of this? What should this look like? So you do have people signing up on the back end. So
Mhm.
those are like two very different things. I would also encourage people to do live video,
Yeah.
as we're doing here. Um, live video is a game changer. You
Mhm.
can make sales off live video with barely selling. Like if you're coming in and you're sharing value, people will roll into your messages like,
Yeah.
what is this thing you're talking about? It's so there's three different things that you can do depending on where you're at.
Okay, thank you for that. And I am so glad that someone else other than me is telling people to go live.
Oh
Go
yeah.
live, do the live videos. The algorithms for all platforms prefer live videos over recorded videos. You
Oh
know,
yes.
and
Don't record it.
yeah. Go live, people. You can do it. If you can't do it, I can help you. That's my job. And then Lydnsi can get you straight so that you can go live in your Facebook group and make money from it. So that's what we love. We're almost out of time, but I have one more question that I really want to ask, because I think this is something that people will struggle with, and you're the expert, so you can tell me if I'm wrong. That's totally fine. There's a fine line between giving away too much free
Yep.
and giving away enough value so that people want more enough to pay you. So how do you walk that line? And again, I know it's not simple, but is there something that we can do to walk that line so that we're not teetering too far and I'm giving away the entire store for free and no one is shopping?
Yeah. So first, I would say when it comes to hiring help, they could be given a lot, and the missing piece is that accountability and that proximity to you to help them, because they may implement for a month and then suddenly you're like, why aren't you going live anymore? What's happening? But they never hired you. They just maybe got some notes from your masterclass or your social media tips. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's something to think about as well, is we need to effectively share, like when we were working with me, like how the transformation is going to turn out with them. Like I know what I built for the past it'll be 14 years in April. So in 2
Wow.
weeks, 14 years. I know the effectiveness. I know the income it brought. I know how I brought in all these cold leads, how I warmed them up. And like, I can give you tips like I just did, but there's more to it. And then there's that having that person. So that's like the foundation to know as a business owner, like they need your support in that way. The other thing to this is, and yes, I've definitely had workshops where I gave so much. They were like, thank you. And off they went. And I was like, oh my God. So I also really look at this like, give an appetizer of the dinner and the dessert. So we're talking to people and we're sharing some value of like key pieces that are important, in a group. Your name is searchable, right? And
Mm-hmm.
if you want to get support in a searchable Facebook group name, I do the research for you when we work together, right? But I'm going to let you know, you can go out and try and figure out your searchable Facebook group name, because that's how people are going to find your group. That's one of the many ways that they can find you. Or if they work with me, I will figure out the research and help them really figure out that name, right? And so that appetizer to that is me saying, hey, now you're aware this is actually searchable. So Lydnsi's Healthy Hub is not going to search. Nobody's going to find that. So I need to be more creative and think like, who's this for? So it's like that. It's like making them aware, giving the pieces of value that they're like, now they know, like, oh wow, I need to do this, and they're going to see that, and then understanding that you're going to get all of that and more when you work with me. So
Yeah, that is excellent. And speaking of working with you, I dropped in the comments your gift to the audience. your 5 ways to increase engagement. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, the good old engagement. So the biggest question I'm always getting, my group is crickets. My group is dead. Nobody's talking. I need engagement, all the things. So I put together this freebie, and it's 5 different ways to increase engagement in your community. And so you can download it and take those tips and you can go implement into your community. And it will help people start to connect with you, which we talked a little bit about earlier with content. And I also want to just add to that, like, engagement does not equal sales. So don't get too obsessed with it. I don't think you need this crazy engaged group with tons and tons and tons of comments. And like, that's where it gets white noise so overwhelming. And you're like, I just don't think that's necessary. You can do it if you want it. Certainly people are having success with the highly engaged groups, but these are tips to get engagement if you want some engagement. Yeah.
All right, awesome. So you guys definitely click the link and download Lydnsi's tips and connect with her so that you can grow your Facebook group and monetize it and have, again, the life that you want. Not currently what you're having if it's not serving you. For anyone in Lydnsi's audience or anyone who's new to me, I have in the comments my 5 keys to beat camera shyness, because as we said, you want to go live in your group. And if you're too afraid to do that, then these 5 keys to beat camera shyness can help you. So, definitely click those links and get some good info and insight and connect with either of us, both of us, so that you can, again, do what you need. And before I let you guys go, I just want to remind you about the Creator Blitz, which is coming up in a month. Holy cow. It's 3 days, ultimate content creation conference for business owners to create up to a year's worth of content in one weekend. Luxury retreat, luxury hotel, lots of business strategy, hand holding, done for you, professional videographers, photographers, you name it, we've got it. You just basically bring your clothes, show up, and get ready to work. So hope you guys can click that link as well. So Lydnsi, thank you so much for being my guest today and sharing your insights on how we can, start, monetize, grow our Facebook communities and have a community and not just be a bunch of strangers shouting at each other on the internet. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
All right, and we will see you guys next week. And again, the links are in the comments. If you have questions after, if you're watching the replay, please, pop them in, tag us. If you're tagging me on Facebook, just don't even bother because it's not going to work. But you can definitely tag Lydnsi and, we'll go from there. So see you guys next week. Thank you, Lydnsi, and thank you all for watching.
Bye.